COP29 is on again, bros. Yes, the climate creatures have all scuttled together to Baku in Azerbaijan to sip champagne luxuriously and plot how to impoverish everyone. Except the poor, right? They get money. Everyone living in, well, what used to be the first world is going to be screwed. But don't worry, bros. They have some rather excellent PR for you, right? So, here you go. I hope you are all enjoying this PR. Remember, when you're like shivering and starving, you can just watch this, bros. This will give you soul food. And although you may be suffering, you can rest knowing that the elites, the proper people, are being richly rewarded.
As a host country, we have a unique opportunity to be the center of the discussions, to be the bridge between South and North, between the developing and developed countries.
This is the time when everyone needs to come together.
Every single member of this society is very excited to welcome everyone in Baku.
Yeah, that's a hard pass from me, bros. But I mean, what is quite interesting, I've got this article coming up further, but it seems there has been a bit of a backlash against the sort of normal climate things. I know, this is going to shock you all, but apparently a whole bunch of countries are like, yeah, okay, so we'll do the green thing. We're going to build a shitload of nuclear reactors. And of course the climate people are like, no, not like that, right? Like, if you build nuclear reactors, you'll actually have energy for, manufacturing and economic activity. We're trying to starve you all to death. But don't worry, bros, don't worry. The UK isn't signing on to any of that nonsense. They're going to make sure that everybody freezes and starves to death. Fucking Jesus Christ. And here is here's Stamer, the Starvahama, chief starvation expert, Ed Miliband. His smugly has been freshly polished. Look how smug you look. He's just like, I'm a good person. I'm doing a good thing. Millions of you will suffer, but that is a price that I am willing to pay on your behalf whilst I'm sitting in Baku, drinking champagne and having some nice nibblies. Oh, God, I hate these people so much.
You're there and the Prime Minister's there, but there are very few other global leaders in attendance. So I'm just wondering, without Joe Biden, without Emmanuel Macron, without India and China and Russian leaders, how much can this summit really achieve?
Well, I think it can achieve a lot, but the reason we're here is, frankly, national self-interest. National self-interest because for good jobs, for energy security, for lower energy bills, the clean energy transition is crucial. And we've got a big announcement today by Scottish Power investing £1 billion to manufacture wind turbine blades by Siemens in Hull, 1,300 jobs. So it's important for those reasons, but also, unless we work with other countries, we won't tackle the climate crisis. We're 1% of global emissions as the UK.
So let me get this straight. The UK is 1% of global emissions. India isn't there. China isn't there. America isn't there. A bunch of these countries, France isn't there. Nobody's there. But the UK is there, being like, oh, well, we're gonna lead the world in a global starvation effort. Oh, God, I hate these people so much. Did I already mention that?
And it's interesting, the overwhelming sense I get here, talking to businesses, talking to other countries, is a determination to press ahead. People recognize that this transition is now unstoppable, and it's in their national self-interest to do it, and I think it's right that Keir Starmer came and showed that Britain stands tall in the world and is going to get stuck in, roll up its sleeves to fight for our country.
Yeah, well, it's unstoppable because you burned the way back, didn't you? Didn't you just, literally deactivate the last coal-fired fucking power plant in the UK, trash all the mining? I mean, we've got, a nuclear plant coming online, supposedly whenever the hell that happens, right? Oh, damn, fuck. There's no way back, bros. There's no way back. I guess we're all just going to have to jump off the cliff. We could have gone back if you hadn't, destroyed all of our stuff. But I had to. We're saving the world, bros. Don't you want to save the world? Don't you want to starve and freeze to death to save the world. No, I would rather save England. I know that's a very provincial view, but I happen to live here, right? It's like, oh, don't you want to be a global citizen? No, I don't want to be a fucking global citizen. Fuck off with that. Shove it right up your jacksie. Oh my God. I hate this guy's face so much. Here's Ed Miliband again, looking like he's trying to accommodate a particularly spiky butt plug or something. Fuck.
We set that out for 2030. It was an independent set of modelling that said that bills could go down by up to £300. And what's important, Susanna, is that the report I referred to last week from the energy system operator confirms that not only is our target achievable, but it will lead to lower costs of electricity. And this is really, really important. It is the big change that I was talking to Richard about. It's a change.
Yeah, I'm gonna press X to doubt on this, right? I am pressing X very, very. Oh, look, energy's gonna be so much cheaper. When? Oh, in the future, at some point it'll definitely be cheaper. Trust me, bro. I mean, this is literally conspiracy theory levels of cope at this point. Oh my God.
Change that renewables are now cheaper than fossil fuels, and what's crucial also is it's not just cheaper, but it gives us more security.
Okay.
Because what we saw when Russia invaded Ukraine was prices going through the roof.
Yes.
And that is what cheap, clean renewables avoid happening.
Is he low-key signaling, right, that the UK is going to properly go to war with Russia? Because, like, this is the subtext, it seems, of a lot of, like, oh, we have to de-link from the global market and we have to be self-reliant. Well, if that's the case, why are you nerfing all the farms? Oh, we can always buy food on the world market. What if there's a famine? What if there's a war? Oh, no, it's fine, right? But when it comes to power, we have to be energy self-sufficient. We can't rely upon the Russians. Dude, couldn't you just, like, open up a few more gas fields in the North Sea? Couldn't you just mine some goddamn coal? Oh, but the climate, What about the poor climate? Fuck the climate. You know how fucking cold it is? The sea might rise by like an inch over 50 years. Yeah, we have these things called like seawalls, right? Like, what about all the poor other people in the world? You were not elected, right, to look after all the people in the world. You were elected to look after the UK. Oh, God. It's fine. It's fine, bros.
Okay. So in 6 years' time, our bills will go down by £300. How much are they going to have gone up by that point?
Well, it's not about bills going up as a result of our plans. The truth is, Susanna, is that because we don't control fossil fuel markets, so when geopolitical events happen, what happens is that, for example, Russia invading Ukraine, prices go up, and then not just for imported gas, but for North Sea, let me just finish the point, North Sea gas as well. So what we're doing is transitioning to cheap, clean power that we control. You see, we set the prices, for example, of offshore wind, 50.
Oh, fuck off. So in 6 years, bro, your energy bills will go down by like £300 a year, by which time your energy bills are probably going to be like $5,000 a year. Oh my God. I don't know. How do you spell gulag in English? Oh, welcome to Gulag Shire. Hope you have a lovely time. Here's a rat to gnaw upon. Ardent Party. Shut the fuck up, Miliband, you walking penis. Yes. Yes, I salute you, Ardent. Absolutely. Now what the hell is this? Oh, yeah, and as if that isn't enough, right? They're setting the Irish up for, like, more goddamn migrants by using the excuse of climate. Oh, we have to take in 1 million, 2 million, 3 million more Somalians because of the climate, bros. Fucking, oh my God.
Climate migration isn't just a concern of tomorrow, it's the present reality.
I was one of those that actually did not believe that climate change is coming. But to be honest now, I can tell you 100% that it's not just coming, it's coming faster than we thought.
Se a gente não tiver água, se as comunidades não tiverem água, futuramente eles vão ter que migrar novamente.
Last year alone, disasters were responsible for more than 26 million internal displacements around the world.
Climate policies must care for the vulnerable in the face of floods, drought, and extreme heat. We need to emphasize the importance of integrating well-managed migration.
Jesus Christ, look at that thing! Oh my God, is that literally a zombie? Is that like an extra from 28 Days Later? They fucking dug up out of the ground and like stuck in some climate conference. Ugh! Imagine fucking walking down a dark street at night and seeing that coming towards you. Oh, dude, creepy.
Into climate planning to address this growing challenge.
At COP29, we need to fully recognize the impacts of climate change on migration. And we must put the people impacted at the heart of these discussions.
That's why IOM is bringing together migrants and over 20 young delegates at COP29. Young people and migrants are crucial change makers in climate action. Their voices must be heard.
We need to strengthen the resilience of the people who want to remain in their land.
To assist these who are already on the move.
And to protect those who may move in the coming years due to climate change.
Migration is one of the solutions to climate change.
Together, for them,
for us,
for future generations.
We need to do more. We need to take concrete climate action for a sustainable future.
Right. I think I'm seeing a pattern here, bros. That, you know, diversity is our strength, you know, and climate migration and millions of more Bomalians to like enrich everybody. Oh, I'm so fucking sick of this, mate. Now, as to what has actually been done at the climate conference, so they have approved the climate credits system, which will basically sort of allow the UN and various other countries to print sort of climate credits and then sell them off. This will basically be another funding source for the world government. I mean, you know, it'll help change the weather, bros. Yeah. No, it's totally gonna help change the weather. But the big announcement. Oh, God, fucking hate this. Here's Stamer to unveil ambitious new UK climate goal at COP29. The target is now an 81% cut in emissions from 1990 levels, back when we used to have a country. And this is going to be by 2035. So in like 11 years, right? I don't know how much the UK has cut already. You know, the way they like do these things, they always try and like have a big headline number so they can be like, yeah, you know, we are impoverishing ourselves faster than anybody else, right? The goal will be achieved by decarbonizing the power sector and through a massive expansion of offshore wind, as well as through investments in carbon capture and storage and nuclear energy. So, I mean, I doubt they're ever going to get a nuclear reactor up and running. You watch, they'll be like, oh, we'd love to give you cheap nuclear power, but you know, there's the spotted nested dick in a swamp. You know, some point, you know, like possibly near, you know, this nuclear reactor we want to build. So I guess we can't do it, right? Think of the nested spotted dicks, bro. Oh God. Just, oh, dude. And I think I've got a clip of Stamer. Oh, here we go. Here's fucking Stamer, the llama hammer, the gulag farmer. Oh, my God. Look at his smug fucking face, always looking like a deer being smacked in the face. Bros, check this out. I mean, ugh.
Just want to ask you about emissions. You've got big ambitions to cut them by 81% by 2035 compared to 1990 levels. I mean, your own advisors tell me that is incredibly hard. It means getting way more people to change their heating systems now. And after 2030, It means telling them to take less flights and eat less meat. Are you prepared to do that?
Well, I'll set out our goal later on today, but look, it will be ambitious, and that's measured not by telling people what to do, it's measured by making sure that we get to clean power by 2030. That's the single most important target on the way to the emissions, and that will bring with it lower bills for people for their energy. It'll give them independence so that tyrants like Putin can't put his boot on our throat, causing all sorts of difficulties for our energy bills, and it comes with the next generation of jobs. So that, yes, I accept, I accept it's.
Yeah, bros, you gotta starve to death to stick it to Putla. Oh, jeez. I mean, look, you may be starving, you may be freezing, you may not be able to afford your energy bills, but you're sticking it to Putla. Don't you feel good? Where's that blitz spirit? Oh, God, this makes me nauseous.
It's a difficult target, it's an achievable target, but it's not about telling people how to live their lives. I'm not interested in that. I am interested in making sure that their energy bills are stable, that we
Oh yeah, it's not about telling people what to do. It's just about altering the choice environment and using taxation and nudge theory so that they don't have a goddamn choice. Because telling people what to do, our researchers have discovered, may incite this thing called reactance, where people do the opposite. Far better to just change the choice environment around them so they don't have a goddamn choice. Hey, it's for the good of the country, don't you know? Anyone who doesn't want to starve and or freeze to death is obviously a far-right conspiracy theorist.
We got energy independence, and that we also, along the way, pick up the next generation of jobs, which will be measured across the United Kingdom, good, well-paid jobs in every community. I'm very interested in that.
Yep, good, well-paid jobs. Building windmills with a rapidly devaluing currency. Dude, come on. And of course, no climate conference would be complete without the massive cash grab. In case you were not aware, much of this climate money is essentially a tax base for the global government and for global gibs, obviously, right? So they're all like, you know, we need like lots of cash. At least 11 trillion a year, bros. Mate, I could help out. I think I got 11 trillion down the back of the couch cushions, right? At least, you know, I got at least a couple of trillion left over in my sock drawer. Fuck, mate. Developed countries are willing to ensure that about half of that is provided from public sources. So countries, right, have decided that they are going to kick in, what, 6.5 trillion a year? Who are these countries? How much is the UK contributing? Would it have anything to do with that supposed $22 billion black hole that I keep hearing about? Fine. However, it's still a large gap that countries are hoping to fill with other sources of cash known as innovative forms of finance. Ooh, well, that's a very sussy phrase. Levies on high carbon activities, from private jets to oil and gas extraction, or taxes on wealth. See, okay, so this is what they really want. What they want are wealth taxes to just tax everybody basically into the ground, right? Like, yeah. Newsfist, that's half of the UK's GDP, 11 trillion. Yeah, I know. It's an insane amount of money. In fact, you know, you could make the argument that if you added all of these global taxes together, you're basically creating like a sort of artificial country with the funding base of, well, I don't know, like half the UK, half the size of the UK, but very, very, very few people. So each people will be gaining like insane amounts of money. But these innovative forms of finance have winners and losers. Yeah, and the taxpayer, of course, is always the loser. They want to reform the World Bank, the IMF, and other multilateral development banks to give more gibs by providing loan guarantees. Well, what is a loan guarantee? Well, loan guarantee basically is where you give a loan to a country, you give money to the country, and if they don't pay it back, somebody else is on the hook for it. So it's basically free money. Awesome. That could unlock billions in finance from the private sector and public funds. Awesome. The World Bank could also provide far more climate finance. Taxes on profits from fossil fuels, again, making fuels more expensive. More taxes on flying. Taxes on shipping, which of course are going to drive up the price of everything. Wealth tax, which they really, really love. And, you know, and remember, like, you know, a wealth tax is very, very different to a tax on income. Wealth taxes potentially are a tax on money that you haven't made, right? So like, you know, if you've got, say you've got a house and it's worth $1 million, but you don't have any cash, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, we valued your house at $1 million. You owe us $100,000. And then of course you'll have to sell the house. When these taxes have been tried before and they result in widespread impoverishment, which of course is the point. Reform of harmful subsidies to fossil fuels. They're not fossil fuels, they're bloody hydrocarbons. Agriculture and fishing. You know, fucking up the food supply. Awesome. And proceeds from carbon trading, carbon tax. They found people are a bit resistant to that, obviously. What else have we got? Tony Blair, of course, was there, blaring it up. Basically saying, you know, more of what I basically said in this article.
What else will you be looking at? What would be your measure of success from this COP?
Well, I think first of all, that you actually get the amount of money that is flowing from the developed world to the developing world. And that can happen, it can happen directly. It can happen also through, you know, through the institutions like the World Bank and other multilateral institutions, providing guarantees, providing concessionary loans for the developing world to be able to invest in renewable energy. You see, the problem is that every year, a lot of these developing countries are going to be increasing their power generation. And they will want to be building airports, having well-functioning airlines and travel, right? So unless you find a way where you're allowing the investment in renewable energy to happen much more quickly, so you're getting people then investing in, you know, solar and renewable and so on, and unless you find ways, for example, with aviation, of making sure that people are going to be able to travel, but using sustainable aviation fuel, it's going to be really hard to make the climate change debate work, because we know, for example, airline travel is going to double over the next 20 years.
Yeah.
And therefore, the whole point that, as I always say to people about climate change, is you're not going to stop people consuming. You know, the world will carry on growing. You can't say to a leader of a poor country whose people desperately need electricity, connectivity, who need the road transport and so on, you can't say to them, don't develop. What you can do, if you provide the finance and the means, is say, here's a way of doing it sustainably, not damaging the environment.
Yeah, what he's basically saying there is you can't say that to poor countries, but you can say it to rich countries, which is about, you know, what's going to happen. Fucking John Podesta, weirdly enough, he has not zombified and turned to ashes. No, he is apparently the US's UN climate envoy. Oh, God. Here he is.
We face an urgent question. Do we secure sustainable prosperity for our countries, or do we condemn our most vulnerable to unimaginable climate disasters? 2024 will be the hottest year on record. The consequences of a rapidly warming planet are all around us. From the hundreds of people killed by Hurricanes Helene and Milton in the United States, to the millions of children at risk of starvation in southern Africa from the worst drought in decades, to the torrential rain that stranded students in schools and displaced nearly 100,000 people in Colombia. Vulnerable communities do not just need ambition, they need action. That's why President Biden and Vice President Harris have marshaled unprecedented climate resources over the past 4 years. Colleagues, we have a clear choice between a safer, cleaner, fairer future and a dirtier, more dangerous, and more expensive one. We know what to do. Let's get to work. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Yeah, let's not. How about you fuck off? Back to whatever creepy hole you crawled out of. This is UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Also, by the way, shout out to Tim Hinchcliffe, who does a lot of these clips. Give him a follow. Very, very good. If you know, I mean, if you're the kind of autistic retard that watches international climate conferences like myself, you've heard it all before, bros. You've heard this song a million times by this point.
The sound you hear is the ticking clock. We are in the final countdown to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
It's the final countdown.
And time is not on our side. Exhibit A 2024, with the hottest day on record and the hottest months on record. This is almost certain to be the hottest year on record. And the masterclass in climate destruction. Families running for their lives before the next hurricane strikes. Biodiversity destroyed in sweltering seas. Workers and pilgrims collapsing in insufferable heat. Floods tearing through communities and tearing down infrastructure. Children going to bed hungry as droughts ravage crops. And all these disasters and more are being supercharged by human-made climate change. And no country is spared. In our global economy, supply chain shocks raise costs everywhere. Decimated harvests push up food prices everywhere. Destroyed homes increase insurance premiums everywhere. And this is a story of avoidable injustice. The rich cause the problem, the poor pay the highest price.
Fuck off.
The richest billionaires emit more carbon in an hour and a half than the average person does in a lifetime. Now, unless emissions plummet and adaptation soars, every economy will face far greater fury. But there is every reason to hope. Excellencies, at COP28, all you agreed to move away from fossil fuels, to accelerate net zero energy systems, setting milestones to get there, to boost climate adaptation, and to align the next round of economy-wide national climate action plans, or NDCs, with 1.5-degree limit. It's time to deliver.
Yes, indeed. I mean, this is a pattern that we're seeing at COP over and over. The UN is basically like, oh, you know, look, we're the climate things, you got to do what I want. But a lot of countries, they just aren't buying it unless they have leaders like Stamer or Trudeau or, you know, other sort of creatures of the international regime. I wonder how much emissions this caused. So this is this is at COP29. They're all eating meat, bros. Surprise, surprise.
There is a line at COP29's food court for the buffet serving meat, another buffet serving meat, and here is the vegan-only restaurant. Doesn't quite look like the same amount of interest by the UN delegation here.
No, you don't understand. We're the elite, right? The rules aren't written for us. They're written for you plebs, right? You get to eat the bugs. We get to eat the steak. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. 6 more countries have joined a goal to triple nuclear energy. And they're like, no, not like that. Not like that. You might have cheap energy. How are we supposed to starve you into submission if you have cheap energy, bros? And at the same time as all of this is going on, UK farmers are basically set to stage a national strike against Rachel Reeves' inheritance tax raids. Essentially, the Labour government have said that they're going to lower the inheritance tax threshold, which would bankrupt a whole bunch of small farmers. And they're like, you know, who needs small farmers, right? Like, you know, what have they ever done for us? The farmers are very, very pissed off. We might see a similar sort of situation to what happened in the Netherlands. There is a protest next Tuesday. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, bros. But, you know, there you go.